Jorge Calderon lives a few hundred feet from the last green section of Arroyo Alamar, a creek that once ran for 6 miles through Tijuana. On a recent Saturday, Calderon led a group of residents seeking to identify the habitat's unique plants and animals.
It's about more than preserving a park. It's an ecosystem. It's a school for my grandchildren and my children.
Pollen-shedding cottonwoods, butterflies, and other wildlife surround the creek. The habitat includes plants with curative properties that low-income locals use as medicine or food. The cardo mariano, the hierba de manso, the uña de gato. More than half of the arroyo is now paved over, or channelized. Resident Ana Langarica says the channelization divided the community where she lived. To visit her relatives and friends, she used to cross a small makeshift bridge over the creek. Now she has to take a long detour or cross the canal and highways.
In 10-15 minutes, I was already at my destination. Now it takes me half an hour or 40 minutes.
She says she used to go on camping trips to the arroyo with her family when she was a little girl.
What did I like? Everything. I like that you could take a bath in the arroyo.
Numerous families live around the creek in makeshift homes with wooden planks and corrugated tin. Not all of these communities were formed legally, and the government has sporadically removed people living too close to the water. In the 1990s, floods destroyed hundreds of houses and caused more than a dozen deaths. The Tijuana government started channelizing Arroyo Alamar in part to protect people from floods. It's also part of a broader urban development plan. The city needs to pave over the final section of Arroyo Alamar to connect 2 main highways and prepare for the construction of Otay 2, a port of entry planned for 2017. The question is how it will be done. And after years of requests by residents and environmentalists, the Mexican government agreed to give them a voice in the process. A joint government and community advisory committee was formed earlier this year. Magdalena Cerda, director of the Border Campaign for Environmental Justice, says one alternative is to use layers of rock for the channelization instead of concrete.
It has to be a strategy where the soil is permeable. In other words, it lets water continue entering the subsoil.
The creek is downstream from Tijuana's Maquiladora zone. Mexico's National Water Commission has reported finding toxic metals and chemicals in the water. Some say the arroyo in its natural state filters part of that pollution.
The riparian vegetation serves as a filter, as a biofilter for certain amounts of pollution.
He says paving the creek with concrete would increase hazards to environmental and human health north of the border as well as in Tijuana. The arroyo connects with the Tijuana River, which feeds into the ocean, and a sensitive estuary on the north side of the border.
If this were to be paved over, as the bottom parts of this, as the lower parts of this have already been done, this would amount to an increment in the velocity of the water, and this, in a flood, this could be dangerous for the estuary in Imperial Beach and for the surrounding communities, not just in Tijuana, but also in Southern California.
He says the wildlife in the arroyo is unique and worth protecting.
It is probably the last big stand of cottonwoods, sycamores, and other trees that you would normally find in riparian areas, and that are gone in Tijuana.
Government and industry leaders have said they agree the arroyo is worth protecting. The president of the National Chamber of Commerce in Tijuana says development doesn't have to be incompatible with the preservation of Arroyo Alamar.
We can do both things. We can protect the environment and be modern, with ports of entries that are bigger and more dynamic.
Community members are still waiting to have their first advisory committee meeting to negotiate with the government. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.